afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the T-level for Engineering and Manufacturing. We're just waiting for some more attendees to open into the room, and then we'll begin shortly. Thank you. So thank you for joining us this afternoon. Today we're going to talk about the Engineering and Manufacturing T-level, and to give you an high-level overview of design and development for the Engineering and Manufacturing pathway. So today, using the webinar platform, you can send any questions in the question area or directly through the chat. Question area is quite easy to work with, so we can answer these questions live on screen. And you're all being set to mute. But however, if you'd like to listen to, if you'd like to speak to us and we can unmute you, then please do so. And then right in the handout section, you'll notice that you have got the slide deck, what I'm going to go through with you today. And also, we also share you some resources at the end of the webinar as well, including this recording. So for the agenda today, just give you a quick overview. Welcome. Just talk about the engineering manufacturing team who's working on this. Bit overview about the engineering manufacturing T-level and its different pathways. And then we're going to split it into the different areas. So design and development. So we'll look at the occupational specialism, how to get to that specialism, so the website navigation, the resources for the design and development pathway, and how they're going to be assessed. We're going to look at the Exemplar for the employee set project currently for design and development. And then we're going to go into each pathway specialism in more detail. So mechanical, electrical electronics, control instrumentation, and structural engineering. Right to the end, we've got some lovely slides to see how we can support you and the guidance available on the webinar. Next events, website to support the providers, opportunities if you want to work with City and Girls, such as moderators, markers, examiners, etc. And the latest book of when the engineering textbook for this T-level is going to be released from Hodder. And again, right at the end, we've got some opportunities for questions as well. So today on this webinar, I'm joined by my colleague, Jono Porter, who's also the Technical Advisor for Engineering and Manufacturing, and you've got myself, who's also the Technical Advisor for Engineering and Manufacturing. Within the Engineering and Manufacturing T-level team, we also got our industry managers. So Robert Stott, who you may know, has been working closely with our employers regarding this T-level, where Scott Wilkins has been working closely with our apprenticeship provision and our endpoint assessment. You'll also see Alison Whittle. She works across all our T-level programs, so she can give you an high-level overview working with the HEIs and also unpicking the content in more detail. And with it being a City and Girls and EAL collaboration, we've got an EQA manager called Roderick Smith, who unfortunately cannot be with us today. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pass over to my colleague, Jono, who's going to go through some of the slides with you. Thank you. Over to you, Jono.
Thank you, Sam. I hope everybody's safe and well. So it's going to take you through the first slide. Next slide, please, Sam. So now we're going to look at the T-level program, how it's made up. So the T-level is a full-time 2-year study program, which carries UCAS points and equivalent to 3 A-levels. And it also covers practical skills and knowledge in the specialist occupational areas. The program is broken up into 2 halves. So starting from the dark blue side, which is the core, there is 680 guided learning hours, which is a lot more than your normal study program. There are 3 assessments, which are in year 1. These are paper 1, maths and science, paper 2, which is engineering concept, and also we have the employer set project. The assessment is external set mark exam with the employer set project. So moving over to the right hand side, in the light blue is the Occupational Specialism, which is also set at 680 GHL for the second year. This is graded Pass, Merit and Distinction. The assessment is a synoptic assignment covered by practical skills and applied knowledge. Part of this qualification, learners will also do an industrial placement, which is a minimum of 45 days, which can be undertaken with 2 employers. Learners also who have not achieved their grade 4 in English and Maths can continue studying on the T-level programme as part of the condition of funding. And also as part of for the T-level, learners are expected to do tutorials, employability skills and enrichment as part of the course. Next slide, please, Sam. Excuse me. So what we're looking at here is an overview of the engineering T-level. So we have the engineering core component, which is the 8, 7, 30. Regardless of which pathway learners follow, all learners complete the same core component. Under the core, we have the 3 pathways, which are maintenance, installation and repair. And the component number for this one is 8712. We also have the engineering manufacturing process and control. And the component number for this one is 8713. And the one which we'll be looking at today is the design and development, and the component number is the 8714. Learners must complete the engineering core and 1 occupational specialism within the pathway. Next slide, please, Sam. So on this slide, we can see the occupational specialism for pathway design and development. We have mechanical engineering, electrical and electronic, control and instrumentation, structural engineer, which are the 4 OSs which sits under the design and development pathway. Next slide, please, Sam. This slide shows the registration information. So when you register the learners on the D&D pathway, design and development pathway, you must register them on the core first, which is 8730-14, followed after by the chosen OS. So for example, this could be 87114-31, which is the mechanical engineering pathway, occupational specialism. So again, register the core first and the OS after. Next slide, please, Sam. So on this slide, this shows the 17 elements. I sometimes call them units, but 17 elements which make up the core for all the pathways. As you can see on screen, the big hitters there are element 4, the maths, and element 5, the science, which carry 90 guided learning hours. When you go to the Sitting Girls webpage, we have some teaching resources which are PowerPoints, schemes of work, worksheets, and multiple choice questions, which are there to aid with delivery. Next slide, please, Sam. We are now looking at the specification handbook for each pathway. So we are on the top right-hand corner, there's a link there which will take you to these handbooks. When you use the handbook, please check that you're using the latest version or the most up-to-date version. So on the screen there, at the bottom for each handbook, you can see on there version 1.1. So just always check that you're using the latest version when delivering any qualification. Next slide, please, Sam. So on this slide, it's showing you how to navigate to the key information. So the first thing to do is go onto the Sitting Girls homepage, where you will find the search bar. In the search bar, type in the 4-digit number, which for this case for the design and development will be 8714, then click on the red icon which says search. When the screen loads up, click on the T-level qualification for the D&D, which you can see at the bottom of the screen with the second arrow pointing to it. Next slide, please, Sam. The other way which you could do this, again, go onto the Sitting Girls homepage. We are now looking at the image on the right-hand side with where the red arrow is pointing, so which shows the T-level. Hover over this, the T-level, and underneath it will show the resource hub. click on the Resource Hub, which will take you to the Resource Support page, which you can see on the left-hand side of the slide. Then you'll be greeted with some drop-down box menus, of which is the specification for chosen T level, and also the page. Also, this page will also have supportive material to help with delivery. Next slide, please, Sam. So this is the navigation, website navigation. So on the right-hand side, we have the link, which will take you to the information document page. Also, this will have a drop-down box and shows the assessment materials for each of the 4 OSs. And in the next drop-down box, this will also show the centre documentation for the D&D Qualification Handbook, which you can see on the left-hand side of the screen. Next slide, please, Sam. So we are looking at the physical resources. This is part of the OS part, which is in the handbook, which can be found on page 13. This will show the OS physical resources which are needed. So we have in there we've got the common resources, which are across all of the OSs for the D&D pathway, and underneath and to the right-hand side, that shows you the physical resources which are needed for each OS. Next slide, please, Sam. So on page 20 within the handbook shows the assessment overview for the D&D pathway. This shows the breakdown for each assessment component. So for the core, it shows the 3 assessments components, the methods of assessment, the duration, marks awarded, the weighting, and also the marking and the grading. And below that shows the same title information for the OS. As you can see on screen, all the OS have got the same duration. Next slide, please, Sam. So now we're going to have a look at the employer set project. Next slide, please. So starting on the left-hand side, we're going to look at the employer set project. This is an employer-based scenario. So there are 4 tasks which have set duration. So task 1 is research, which is the duration is 3 hours on that one. Task 2 is design, which is of duration of 8 hours. Task 3 is plan, which is duration of 5 hours. Task 4 is present, which has a duration of 2.5 hours. Moving over to the right-hand side, this shows now the assessment objectives, which are broken down to 1 to 5. In the next column shows the type of evidence which is needed, and in the final column it shows the weighting for each assessment objective. Can we go on to the next slide, please, Sam? So this screen is showing the scenario for the employer set project, which is linked to the D&D pathway, with this one being a sample assessment. The idea for this is the learner reads the design brief, design specification form. So in this case, which you can see on screen, which is a bollard, which will be placed outside of a train station. This would need to be re-engineered. So the learner will need to carry out research, come up with alternative bollard, which will need some key features. So it must be certain height, needs to withstand minor vehicle impact. The bollard is to manufacture recycled materials, and also fitted with some new technology, so to see how many people walk past the train station at certain times. On the last slide, I mentioned about the 4 tasks which learners will need to complete. So task 1 will be research, so learners will be expected to carry out research and from different types of bollards. Task 2, looking at different designs, which will meet the design brief. Task 3, the plan, how long would it take to mass produce, the costing, solving any potential issues, what may occur. And task 4 is the learner will present back to the employer regarding the project, such as why they chose that design for that new bollard, showing the costing, why they chose that material, and what issues they may have faced. So that was a quick snapshot of the employer set project for the D&D pathway. Next slide, please, Sam. So now I'm going to hand you over to my colleague Samantha, who will take you through the rest of the presentation. Thank you, Samantha.
Thank you, Jono, for that quick update. So just to look at the design and development occupational specialism pathway now, and looking at the practical assignment. So within the practical assignment for the design and development pathway, it's 90 marks. It's a duration of 34 hours. The practical synoptic assignment is going to be set by City and Guilds, internally marked by yourselves, and then externally moderated by us. It's based on an overarching project brief, and there's going to be a different range of individual tasks that are mapped to the performance outcomes. And we're going to go through those on the next slide. Also within the occupational specialist assignment, you've also got a mark scheme that's going to also reflect the individual performance outcomes. And each mark band is also weighted against the assignment brief. So looking at the performance outcome, this is the same performance outcome across all the occupational specialism within the design and development pathway. So within the design and development pathway, you've got PO2, which is the analysing, which is weighted at 16%. PO3, which is evaluating, which is weighted at 22%. PO4, which is at designing, modelling, using CAD software, etc., at 23%. Collaboration. So with collaboration, it's like learners working together, showcasing their best practice, also showcasing why they chose that information, and then completing the detailed risk analysis and responding to the learner feedback. And that's weighted at 26%. And then you've got your communications and your proposal designs as well. So other words, why they use that proposal, why they use that design, etc. And that's weighted at 13%. So what we're going to do now is to go through each occupational specialism in a bit more detail. So we're going to look at mechanical to start off with. So within the specification on page 29 onwards, you can see in there there's an overarching information regarding the overall conditions of completing the occupational specialism for design and development. So within design and development, the assessment overview themes, and this is where you'll be using your marking band grid too, is to do with health and safety, design and planning, manufacture, and reports. And again, the learner is going to be analysing, evaluating, proposing, collaboration, and communicating to meet those performance outcomes identified on the previous slide. As you can see, we will be releasing these assessments towards the end of the programme in the second year. And then again, you'll be able to download the information and resources to complete the assessment. Again, these assessments are done in the controlled conditions. So when looking at the occupational specialism, you need to go to page 71 for mechanical. And as you can see on the screen, it's just a snapshot of what's happening regarding this mechanical specialism. So on the performance outcome, you've got knowledge and performance, and these are taken directly from the KSBs, that's also in apprenticeship framework, apprenticeship standards as well. So you've got the underpinning knowledge outcome. So on that section, section 1, you've got learners need to have a bit of understanding about mechanical engineering knowledge criteria. And then the performance outcome, which is on number 2 to 6, this is where the learner is going to be assessed using that synoptic assessment. Again, analysing, evaluating, proposing, collaboration, and communication as well. Within these performance outcomes and also knowledge outcomes, you've also got the linkage to maths, English, and digital skills, and they identify with key identifications at the end of each page. So with this occupational specialism, learners are going to develop their knowledge and understanding of different types of design methodologies, knowledge of tools, equipment and processes, mathematical theories, producing engineering drawings and representations, working with models, and also testing models and prototypes. So that is what's going to be happening on this mechanical engineering. So if we think about how the content is split, so this is outcome 1, so this is the knowledge section. So what you'll see, you see something called 1.1, and that is the learning outcome. So in other words, that is what we're going to be asking the learners to work upon. You then got the range, and the range is outlined the subject or topic that needs to be delivered. Everything in that principles, So principles, requirement, bracket, functionality, aesthetics, dimensions, etc. all needs to be covered with the learners. There's nothing what should not be not covered in that topic outline. In the salmon box, we've got what do learners need to learn? And again, these are some types of questions that the learners might need to ask themselves when actually creating and working on that synoptic assessment. So in other words, how to identify, interpret and confine client and customer requirements, proposals, ideas and objectives and aspirations. And this is to how the depth and breadth with that subject should be taught as well. The skills in the grey box is related to EC1. So EC is English competency skill number 1. And you find all the competent skills at the beginning of the specification. So for the practical skills, and this goes from page 81 onwards, and now looking at learning outcome 2. So analyse, interpret engineering and manufacturing requirements. So in 2.1, the learners need to access and interpret and respond to mechanical design projects and tasks required for different sources. And again, we've got the range. So the range is design brief, specification, concept drawing, stakeholders, etc. And it gives you provides the detail of information required to deliver and assess that topic. In the salmon box now, we've now got what do learners need to demonstrate. So previously, knowledge is all about learning, skills is all about demonstrating. So as we see on this demonstration board, we're going to need to examine, interpret and review information and projects and tasks and source. And this is the primary purpose of the practical task, and that is how depth the subject needs to be taught as well. And as you can see, we're looking at these skills again, and again, it's related to English competent skills number 1, 5 and 6. So again, you can see where these sections relate into the different topics as well. So what you can see on the screen now is the exemplar assessment for the mechanical one. Again, these are in our shared area on the website called on the 8714 under mechanical, and underneath there you also have something called GSEM. So that is guided standard exemplification materials. And these are being completed to what a threshold learner looks like and what a pass learner looks like as well. So you can see how learners have attempted these tasks. So with this one, they are a mechanical engineer employed in an engineering company. They're asked to design a manual power mechanical lifting device. And as you can see, they're given some information as well. So within the design criteria, lifting a cuboid box, capable of lifting activity must be carried out safely, must be manual powered, and must assemble as a permanent product. So as you can see, we've given some detailed information what the learners need to complete those designs to as well. So as previously, the time is allocated to 34 hours. So task 1 is 14, task 2 is 13, task 3 is 1 hour, and task 4 is 6 hours. And they're working under supervised condition at all times. And again, breaks can be taken outside the control conditions as well. So looking at that assignment brief in a bit more detail, we can now look into the tasks. So with any OS exemplar assessment, you're always going to see task 1 design, task 2 manufacturing test, task 3 peer review, task 4 evaluate and implementation. So they're going to follow across the different occupational specialisms and future series as well. So with task 1 designing, they need to produce a detailed design spec, some sketches, carry out calculations, justify, create engineering drawings, produce a virtual model and create a bill of materials. In task 2, we're asking them to manufacture a prototype of what they've actually designed as well and operate the prototype. And we also give the size of what this model should be as well. Task 3 is that collaboration, so that peer review. So within that peer review, they're going to be set up the group of learners. They're going to assess presenting how they're going to present their explanation design, and discuss the feedback, what went right, what went wrong, review each individual ones, give the best feedback and that. And then from that peer review, the learner can then go to the task 4, which is the evaluation section. So with the virtual model and the actual prototype, they can actually use appropriate software, response to results of that peer feedback or that manufacturing of that testing. They can do revised control documentation, so if anything needs to be changed, such as specifications or bill of material, for example. evaluate the proposals, designs, and also using the peer review to evaluate it, and do they agree what the peer review said, and also then justify any improvements or adaptations as well. So they are the 4 different tasks that the learner will complete under controlled conditions. For when you're a marking centre, if you are used to delivering our 1145 technicals programs for engineering, then this is similar to how to mark it. So it's holistically marked, and we will do some training and sessions regarding how to do some marking for these occupational specialist assessments as well, for the marking grids. But for example, in assessment, scene design and planning, we tell you what you need to see for an assessor. So you need to have that evidence in front of you. So design spec, annotator sketch, justifications, calculations, bill of material, engineering drawing, and the outcome. And also you want the outcome of the virtual model as well. And then you will mark it per the mark bands. And as you can see, we've got something called indicative content. That indicative content tells you what you should be seeing when that learner submit that evidence. So in other words, engineering drawing and representations, sketch includes annotations, orthographic drawings, etc. So that is what you need to see. And if they don't hand in those 3 designs, and also they can get penalised as well. So again, it's looking under that marking band to see what you need to be doing as well. So if, for example, if looking at marking band regarding the documentations, what you can see, how you can look at it, if you're looking at grade marks 1 to 4, it's brief, it's no justification reason, some design calculations. So you're looking at a threshold pass learner, for example, where if you're looking at mark band 19 to 12, you're thinking that specification is detailed, all consideration points have been elaborated, clear design reason, all design calculation applied, then you're looking like a distinction learner, distinction competency learner. So that's how you're looking between those marking bands as well. But again, these are holistically marked as well. So that gives you an overview of what mechanical is. We're now going to look at electrical and electronics. So electrical electronics, exactly the same setup as what it is in for mechanical. So again, analysing, evaluate, propose, collaborate and communicate. And also looking at the health and safety, design and planning, manufacturing and report as well. So nothing changes within different occupational specialism except only the content. So with the specification, exactly the same how we interpret it regarding mechanical. So the knowledge is on page 98 onwards and the practical skills on page 106 onwards. And again, learners are going to be developing their engineering skills regarding electrical electronics. They're going to look about different types of electronic systems, going to ask for using documentations, electrical technical drawings. We're also going to look at designing in electronics as well. So again, different information to help and support the learners regarding to become an electrical and electronic engineer. So for example, in this occupational specialism, Exemplar, and again, the completed one for threshold and distinction learning is available on our website still. This is one is electrical engineer employed by a company that sells a variety of products online, and they want to do an automated sorting activity in dispatch area. And they need, part of their electrical task is to design, build and test the prototype for a circuit that will sort and allocate the boxes. So you can see an example what the area looks like regarding dispatch. You can see down at the bottom, it tells you all the specifications and design criteria and what's happening as well. So again, maximum weight of the box is 2 kilograms. If it's less than 200 meter high and 300 meter long, it must go A. If it's larger, it goes down B. So again, it's a sorting exercise that learners need to have a go at as well. For this task, task 1 is 14 hours, task 2 is 13 hours, task 3 is 1 hour, and task 4 is 6 hours. So some changes in the hours allocated. So again, we are following the same principal processes of design, peer review, manufacturing test, and evaluate and implementation. So design, they need to do a design circuit for that. They need to generate design circuited, so selection appropriate sensors, calculate the values required, so different types of motors, timings, etc. Complete a printed circuit board, so PCB layout with a circuit. Simulate the performance of design circuit on using a CAD software, so it could be on a AutoCAD electrical, for example, or it could be on Crocodile Clips, for example, so other words, simulating that process. Assemble a physical model of the circuitry and test its operation, and then produce a bill of material as well. For the manufacturing, they need to produce a PCB board, and they need to build and solder a prototype working for it as well. And they then also need to test that circuit as well. Same peer review, presenting the design, presenting the actual completed manufacturing test and reviewing it as well. And exactly the same regarding the evaluation and implementation. So in other words, producing a virtual model, change revisions, 500 words regarding revision changes, and again, report no more than a typical 800 words explaining the summary, etc. And again, this will all be marked by yourselves and moderated by us. So I'm just going to go through control and instrumentation engineering. So control and instrumentation engineering, exactly the same content and assessment method. So externally set, externally moderated. Still those 4 assessment themes. So health and safety, design and planning, manufacturing reports. And again, the same content overview. So analysing, evaluating, proposing, collaboration and communicating. So again, following that same assessment process that's been identified in the other occupational specialisms. For control and instrumentation, the specification is on page 120 onwards. The knowledge is on page 122, and the practical skills is on page 129 onwards as well. So with control and instrumentation, you're thinking about robots, you're talking about controllers, you're talking about even mechanical, electrical controllers, and so different types of systems as well. So again, this is where those who want to go into that specialist area of control instrumentation, it's a variety of different areas. So a bit mechanical and a bit electrical built into one. So for this occupational specialist, this is assignment. It's regarding food production, and this is for industry food production company. And what they need to do, design, develop, test a prototype for a control system unit that will maintain the correct lighting and temperature. So again, they're thinking about how going to maintain the correct lights, how going to maintain the correct temperature when growing food. Again, you've got the temperature ranges from 18 degrees to 24 degrees. Temperature control must not exceed 30 degrees. Pre-alarm if it goes above that range. Visual output showing the temperatures and light measures. Recording parameters to say making sure that it's in operation, and also how it changes as well. And again, the type of lights, how much lighting needs to be on that fruit and veg as well. So again, it's a very more practical based, more understanding about controlling temperatures and also regarding the lighting within the food industry. So those learners might want to go into food and development, for example. So task 1 is 14 hours, task 2 13, task 3 1 hour, and task 4 6 hours. And again, it's the same situation where supervised conditions, breaks can be taken, but everything must be locked up while they're on breaks as well. So for this example, for the control instrumentation, again, they're going to do a detailed specification regarding the operating limits of the system and how the system stability will be achieved. Some designing for the control system, so selection appropriate calculations regarding alarm range, alarm temperatures, and annotating some block and wiring diagrams as well. They're going to need to produce a virtual model of the proposed design using appropriate software. and then create a bill of materials as well. So when they're manufacturing and testing, they need to do a risk assessment of the prototype, use a permanent construction method to produce the prototype. So again, within the specification, we'll give you some examples about the different types of construction methods to build a control instrumentation, and then they need to test it as well. Again, same peer reviewing, so other words, considering other people's feedback and how it's important to their final design, and then evaluating from that feedback as well. So again, similar setup regarding the tasks and information, but again, based on the control and instrumentation assessment. So the last one in the design and development pathway is structural engineering. So structural engineering, you can see again, same assessment overviews and same content overviews. And again, you can see these in more detail from page 29 onwards. And again, you've got these information regarding the assessment as well. So for structural engineering, looking at page 143 onwards, the knowledge is on page 145 and the practical skills are page 154. And this is doing 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional drawings. It's also interpreting different scenarios, also making prototypes, types of materials when constructing different parts, forces and loads and impacts. So it works really nicely with subjects such as mechanical principles, that which is inside the core unit, and different types of projects that structural engineers will take upon as well. So within the structural example, we're going to be creating a pylon. So design of the electric pylon. So other words, it's using the existing pylons that I can see now on that screen. They need to design a new pylon because we've been entered into a competition. So with the pylon, it tells you about the height of it, the supporting of the loads, resistance in weather, aesthetically pleasing, look at urban and nature environments, reduce vulnerability to lightning strikes, repurpose at the end of the life. So again, can it be taken down? How can it be moved, etc. Installed by a mobile crane. So again, this one's regarding the pylons. So with this structural engineering, they're going to be doing some design specs, some sketches, justification of material use, calculations regarding the body and the cross arm of the pylon, create engineering drawings using CAD software, a virtual model, so 2D and 3D software will need to be used on this, and also create a bill of materials as well. Regarding the manufacturing of this product, they need to do some risk assessments, they need to construct a scale prototype so they can test it. They need to carry out some global stability testing to check in its suitability and carry out the required scale load. So the scale load identifying the design spec that needs to be carried out to make sure it works. And select to carry out material strength tests. So for example, strength tests, it could be using tensile testing equipment. It could be using Sharpie impact testers, for example. So again, these are all the different parts that we'll do on the structural engineering as well. And again, from there, we've got the evaluation and the peer review as well. So hopefully that will give you a quick understanding of what's in design and development, occupational specialism, the assessments. Again, all these assessments I've shown you online are available under 8714 under the documentation section, and you can see the actual exemplar assessments and also the completed of those assessments at threshold and past learner. Threshold learner, which is a past learner, and a distinction learner as well. So as always, we're here to support you throughout your T-level journey. So again, we're just doing the web network today, so creating webinars, different types of communication methods as well. If you haven't already, then please do sign up to our T-level e-bulletin. You'll also get regular updates regarding changing contents, etc. And you've also got the websites to support you as well. As part of support and guidance, and again, we have timelines. So other words will tell you when assessments are going to be released, when exams are going to be released as well. You want employers to get involved as well. So regarding employers and industry boards, employers are showcasing the products of the T-level, and they are reviewing the content before it's released to learners and released to centres. So again, get your employers involved in that. Specifications are always changing, so always making sure that you keep up the latest specification. Resource hub, making sure you update the resource hub as well, and also any learner flyers. So again, for recruitment, look at your learner flyers, and also what a T-level is, for example. And again, you've got myself and Jono, who are your dedicated technical advisors to support your delivery as well. So in addition to our events and webinars, we've also got our resource development for the core, face-to-face events as well, so please watch out for those. Anything to do with our T-level homepage, you'll see our copies of the slide decks and also the recording of this event and webinar. And again, after the event, you also get a recording and a CPD certificate for attending the event today. We've got a dedicated Engineering Go-To webinar channel. So again, if you click on that Engineering Go-To channel, it'll take you directly to an event, to the page, and you can see all our latest parts on there. Always register our T-level update bulletin. And again, you can select, just not have to select engineering, you can select the different pathways. As you can see today, we just run the design and development. Tomorrow we're doing maintenance, installation, repair. And then on Friday, we're also doing manufacturing process control. And then just after the Christmas break, we're then going to show you how the different types of curriculum plans and delivery model that you might want to see regarding a T-level delivery as well. As always, we're always there to give ideas and to showcase the website support providers. So again, as you can see on the website, you've got industry placement, T-levels, how T-levels are funding, capital funding, transition programs. So if you're not thinking of delivering a T-level this year, but thinking about T-levels next year, then thinking about the transition program. We have done some webinars on transition programs, so please do get in touch if you want to find information from that. You may have already been in touch by the Education Training Foundation. They've been doing some great information regarding professional developments and also showcasing visit sites as well. So do get in touch with the Education Training Foundation as well. And also you've also got the lots of government websites regarding the next step as well. So coming soon, Hodder Education is creating a textbook called the Engineering Manufacturing just for the core. It's going to be available in 2 different formats. So print is £34. You can pre-order this on Amazon already. And then you've also got a booster ebook as well for £11 per year. If you want to see some information, we have got one of these, one of the chapters on our website, what came from Hodder Education, so you can see what the content is and how to support the learners in delivery. As well as, please do contact Gemma Simpson at Hodder Education. She'd be really happy to help you, support you, and identify when the textbook is coming through. But currently we've been identified it's going to be spring 2023. But there again, it may come sooner, so please do get in touch with Gemma, who's looking after this textbook. As always, with any T-level program, we like to work with yourselves. So we're looking for principal moderators, technical quality associates, examiners and markers. So again, these are jobs and availability that can be done regarding, in addition to your job that you're currently doing now, if you've got the time. It also gives you an understanding of what a T-level is about as well. So you'll be able to, all the training regarding the types of exams, how to mark exams. Again, you can share that best practice as well. So if you are interested, then do get in touch with myself, or also look on our associate vacancy website. With any qualification regarding T-levels, all learners will get a digital credential. Again, digital credentials is not just for T-levels, across all our programs that we do offer at City and Girls. Digital credentials are there to showcase, can be put on LinkedIn profiles, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you name it. and just shows that what the learner's been working towards as well. If you do want any more information regarding digital credentials, then do get in touch with us as well. So I'd like to say thank you for joining us this afternoon on the webinar regarding design and development, and thank you for your attendance. This comes now to the end. Any questions? And currently I'm not seeing any in the question box. Anything else for any centres, like any question before we end? There is one thing before we go, is just like to showcase and share that we have got a engineering and manufacturing LinkedIn account. So if you go onto LinkedIn and type in the engineering and manufacturing LinkedIn, you will be able to see it's a private group, and everything regarding this T level is all shared with providers. It's also sharing best practice on there as well. So please join that group. Any questions? No? No questions? No one wants to come online? So thank you for joining us. Much appreciated, and hopefully we'll see you at the next webinar tomorrow. If not, do get in touch with us. They'll support you throughout the journey. And thank you for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you.